I'm on a journey to find God, not the one I was told to believe in, not the one wrapped in centuries of tradition, passed down with rules and dogma and a cultural script. I'm talking about the real God, whoever or whatever that actually is, the one who exists, if he exists, whether I ever figure it out or not. And I want to know for myself, because deep inside, there's this ache, there's a pull, a longing I can't shake. And that leads me to a question I keep asking. Can I be spiritual without being religious? At first it sounds trendy, maybe even soft. But for me, it's not a slogan. It's a survival rope. One end is freedom. The other? Accountability. Freedom to explore. Accountability to stay honest. Because look, I'm not looking for a new label. Not chasing a cooler version of faith. I'm not even trying to feel better. I'm searching for something real, something alive, something that doesn't just comfort me, but actually challenges me. And I know this about religion. If there is a true God, he might not show up in the way I expect. He might not be neat and tidy, separated from religion or rituals or tradition. He might come with all of that and more. And if I'm too focused on the packaging, I might miss the main event entirely. That would be tragic. I don't want to be so caught up in how he shows up that I miss that he showed up at all. So I try to keep my heart open. Because if God is real and people really have encountered him, then it makes sense they'd try to build their lives around that experience. That's often how religion begins, with something genuine. But somewhere along the way, the response becomes a requirement. The structure becomes sacred, and the source gets sidelined. And that's where I struggle. When religion tries to own God, gatekeep him, monopolize him, that's where I become skeptical. That's where it stops being about God and starts being about the religion itself. But let's be fair. Just because a religion has rituals doesn't mean the God behind it isn't real. And just because some people follow imperfectly doesn't mean he's not worth following. Still, I can't just cross off possible paths to God because they make me uncomfortable. That wouldn't be a real search. That would be a curated playlist of spirituality based on what feels nice. And nice isn't the goal. Truth is. So I'm trying to walk this tightrope, not rejecting religion just because it's religion, but not blindly accepting it either. If God is real, then he's the center. Not the rituals, not the rules, not even the community. Those things might orbit around him, but they should never replace him. At its best, religion offers structure, wisdom, community, and grounding. At its worst, it buries the very thing it was created to reveal. I've seen both. I've seen faith move people to compassion and service. I've also seen it harden hearts and become weaponized to control, to shame, to divide. So my question remains, does religion help me find God, or does it distract me from him? That's the lens I look through now, trying to move forward. Then there's spirituality. It's messier. It doesn't come with a manual. It's personal, raw, undefined. Spirituality brings up questions like, who am I? Why am I here? Is anyone out there? These are soul-level questions. For a while, I told myself I was spiritual. It felt safe, open-ended, uncommitted, free from dogma. But over time, the questions kept coming. While the answers didn't, the warmth I used to feel in prayer faded. Any sense of God started to feel disconnected, then distant, then silent. Eventually, I felt nothing at all. Just frustration. And that silence, that deep quiet where no sound has come, that's what finally pushed me to take my search seriously. Not to try harder, but to commit. So I stepped away from everything. Religion, denominations, doctrines, labels. I dropped it all. It felt like dropping out of school to find myself. And at first, it felt incredible, freeing, like I could breathe again. But then, the freedom started to feel like drifting, like I was floating further out, without a compass or rudder. And one day, it hit me. In my self-prescribed liberation, I was leaving too many stones unturned. I told myself I was searching, but I was really playing it safe. Comfortable. Selective. I fooled myself into thinking I was searching without influence, but what I was really doing was waiting for God to come to me. And that's not enough anymore. So here I am, back in the search, back at the question, can I find God outside of religion? I still don't know, not yet, but I've decided to continue the search, even within religion, because I know I'm not interested in a God who only shows up in buildings for an hour on Sundays. I want a God who shows up when I'm a mess, when I'm confused, when I feel like I'm unraveling. A God who isn't bound by religion, but might still be found in one, or beyond it, or through it. And yeah, some people say I'm doing it wrong. Find the right church, say the right prayer, join a belief system. Some have told me I need to surrender before God will show up. But what does that even mean? Does it mean I open my heart even more? Or forget what I've learned just to make room for God? I can't imagine that's a prerequisite, but honestly, I don't know. I've even had churchgoers roll their eyes when I explain my frustration, as if they know I can't find God this way. As if I must submit to what worked for them. But I wonder, is it actually working for them? Did they find God, or just fall in line with religion and convince themselves God showed up? I'm not here to judge their psychology. But I don't understand how some can so quickly determine the right and wrong ways to relate to God, or dismiss those who haven't found Him yet. My guess is this. You can be spiritual without being religious, but it's not easy. It takes guts to walk into the mystery with no answers, to sit in discomfort without connection, to keep praying when all you hear is silence, and in that silence, to show up anyway, to stay honest even when the answers break your heart. So why do it? Because something in me still says, there's more. Because the thought of living my whole life without ever connecting with the one who made me feels unbearable. This path isn't easy, but I'd rather be wrong in an honest search than right about a version of God I can't believe in. Maybe you've never asked these questions. Or maybe, like me, you're just trying to be honest about where you are. This isn't a sermon. It's not a pitch. It's not a performance. It's a search. And I still believe with everything in me that God can be found. If He's real, He's bigger than my doubts, bigger than tradition, bigger than silence. And if I fail, at least I'll know I tried. If I never find Him, I'll live feeling one step behind. But even then, I'll try to live with honesty, kindness, and reverence, because I do believe this is His world, and I'll still see myself as part of His creation. But I'll carry an ache because life without a connection to God to me feels smaller, incomplete, like I'm missing my origin, my purpose, my reason for being. I'm not here to convert anyone. I'm just here to ask, to look, to be real. And maybe, in that honesty, I'll finally find what I've been looking for all along. And now it's time for an ending prayer. God, I want to know You. You as You truly are. I don't want comfort. I don't want to fake my belief. I want to search with honesty, even when it hurts, even when I feel lost. If I'm going the wrong way, guide me. If I've closed my heart, open it. And let me have a heart that is not only unafraid to feel, but is open to what may come my way. I'm not asking for certainty, just light, just enough to see my next step. Amen. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons so I can bring you more content like this. Thank you.